Brian would like to call the meeting to order. I believe in starting on time. Brian is on our webcast. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Stern.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you have the honor since I'm not there, not to delay this meeting. I appreciate your help, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. At this time, you have an agenda in front of you. Oh, we need an invocation. I'm sorry. Coach Stevens, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Let us bow our head. Almighty, we come today to say thank you. Thank you for our families. Thank you for our schools. Thank you for our community. And ask that you continue to bless us. Everyone say amen.
Amen. Thank you, Coach. At this time, you have an agenda in front of you. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that we approve the agenda with an adjustment on the vote for the budget. If you could move that up, please, to accommodate a tight schedule. At your discretion.
Yes, sir.
Then I'll move that we approve the agenda with that one adjustment.
The motion to approve the agenda and move the item N, which is budget proposed consent. I'd like to move it up to right before the proposed consent agenda. Is that
It's
okay
fine
with
with me,
everybody?
anywhere that's convenient.
Is that okay? Do y'all have any problem with that? So we'll move N in front of F. So it'll be it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So there's a motion. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second that we adopt the agenda with the, will we change in? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. This time, Mr. Superintendent.
Absolutely. What I'd like to do is introduce looks like a plethora of wonderful guests today. We have with us John Shorter, who is our NAACP president. We also have our previous deputy superintendent, Mr. John Walls. We have John Smith, as always. He's minus his guest. We have Rick Tillotson from the Corps, Erdick, and Kelly Liaconote. I hope that was correct. He's a local attorney.
Sounds like a good Italian name.
That's right. And then we have Mr. Rowdy Nasser, who's with us tonight from one of our local restaurants called Rowdy's and Taco Casa. Also, we have a couple of special guests, and I'm going to let Coach introduce them at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. We have our head track coach from Vicksburg High School, along with our intramural track coach in the summer leagues, Mr. Clarence Maxey. And these young men, would you come up, Coach Archie, as he comes up to honor Mr. Terrell Smith. Mr. Terrell Smith was the first player in track to receive the Gate A Player of the Year for the state of Mississippi. He is the fastest person to come through the Vicksburg Warren School District. Fantastic young man. Coach Archie had a great run along with the help from Mr. Maxey and the others at Vicksburg High to finish second for the 5A state. So Coach Archie, you take it over from here.
Good evening. As you said, my name is Coach Archer, and he was speaking about one of the gentlemen who volunteered with our track program, Mr. Maxey. He's done a great deal of work helping me in preparing the students for these different meets. But one student in particular, one athlete in particular that we are here to, or I want to recognize is Terrell Smith. Terrell, come on, please. First of all, I'd like to say that I have had a pleasure working with Terrell for the past 4 years, and I only got 4 years. Mrs. Maxey has gotten, how many years have you gotten, Mrs. Maxey? 6 years working with Terrell, and he's been something to see. on that track field. And just a few things about Terrell. Just this year, he won the state championship in the 200-meter run, in the 100-meter run, and in the long jump. And that makes him the only male athlete to win 3 individual state championships this year.
Wow.
He's also won 4 consecutive state championships in the 200-meter run since he was a freshman. His freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And the last 2 years, he's won a state championship in the 100-meter run, his junior and senior year. So that's saying a lot for Terrell. I think he's the only person in Warren County to win 7 individual state track championships. So that's a big thing for him. Also, I think for the past 2 years, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, he's gone undefeated in the 100-meter run. Nobody has beat him in the 100-meter run in a track meet in the last two years. In the last 2 years, so he's undefeated in the 100-meter run in the last 2 years. And he's I'm sorry, in the 100 and the 200. Also, this year Terrell was last year Terrell was nominated for the Mississippi Hall of Fame Pop Star Award, which is an award given in honor of Jackson Public Schools athletic administrator, and they give them to the top athletes in their respective sports. Now, last year he was a finalist. This year he actually won the award for boys track and field. So he's a Pop Star Award winner this year. Also, he's a Gatorade Athlete of the Year in boys track and field for the state of Mississippi, and he's also a finalist for the national award to be Gatorade track and field winner for the entire country. So he's a finalist for that, and they'll be doing that at the end of July, or sometime in July. So I just wanted to bring Terrell up and let everybody see who this young man was, who this young man is, because he is definitely a superstar. He
Coach,
really is.
where's he going to school?
And Terrell will be at youth television.
I'm going to Kansas State.
Awesome.
He will attend Kansas State this year, and I just want to let
Full
everybody
ride,
see
right? Good job.
Fantastic.
Terrell Smith.
Coach Johnson.
And Terrell's mother and father are here
Please,
also.
please, hold them hands
I'd
up.
like to recognize them. I know you did introduce Coach Maxson, but I want everybody to see Coach Maxson because there are a lot of things that he was able to help me with as far as preparing Terrell and the other athletes also. So I do want to recognize Coach Maxson.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
That's incredible. We always love our guests, but when we have such a distinguished guest as a excellence that's shown by our students, it's always wonderful to have them there. And I congratulate you, and I'm so proud of you, and I know your mom and dad are too. And thank you for representing Vicksburg High School and our school district. And best wishes in the future. As I move into my next statement, I did leave out one special guest, and Mr. Omar Nelson. He's a local attorney. He's with us also today. I have, before I begin, and I think it's the appropriate time to do this, we had a update for a project that the board had approved. It was at Vicksburg Junior High. A lot of you know that. It was really wet. It was really soppy. We had walls leaking, and I think it had been doing that about 20 years. And so what we did is the board approved for us to move forward with finding a way to fix that. And the initial price came in at 6 digits, a little more than that, and we kind of wiggled around, and we found another solution that cost us about 10. And I've asked that Richard McNeil from JVHM would come and make the board aware of that. Another thing I would ask him to do is we were made light in a survey through our facilities. Bill Sanderford found that there is a huge roof leak at Warren Central Junior High, and I've asked him to apprise the board on the findings of that specific repaired it.
Good evening. Richard McNeil, and I'm passing out the first of two items. First one on the Vicksburg Junior High water. Remember, he authorized Vicksburg to come in and we actually made the building leak. And his estimate time was in 6 figures for the complete repair. And then we asked, is there an interim opportunity, an interim way to do this at a different pricing standpoint? With Bill's help and his staff, we went out and did that. And of course, these are photographs of the work. You see the timeline. We received bids in December. Bill and I have been out there a couple of times. Bill, I don't know if you want to report this, but we've had a lot of rain since February, and we don't have any leaks in buildings. That's good news. It seems this interim approach has worked. So we're excited about that. But the other item, which I'm passing another handout. Bill and I went up on the roof of Warren Central Junior High to look at the roof there. Unfortunately, that roof has expired in its life and has been expired for some time. The roof that's on there now that I'm showing you pictures of was installed in 1985. A 20-year warranty would be 2005. So we've gotten many years beyond the life of the original warranty on this roof. If you turn to the last page is our recommendations about replacing this. The second to last page shows probably some of the worst pictures. The rubber roof membrane is totally withdrawing backwards, pulling the gutters and ripping them off of the face of the building. We did cores on the buildings, 3 cores or 4 cores. So see pictures of those. The insulation is totally wet. And you have numerous leaks all throughout the building. You have no choice other than to replace this roof. It's 49,000 square feet of square footage. We estimate a cost to be somewhere in the $10 to $12 range a square foot, which puts you in the $550,000 to $600,000 cost perspective. We do have to finish. We haven't finished doing the drawings and uncover everything, but that's just our estimate based on going under with Bill, doing cores, taking photographs. Are there any questions?
Mr. McNeil, will your square footage for roof measurements or every floor in the building, floor measurements?
Roof measurements only. That's why we showed you this roof plan, and not the sloped roof, just the flat roofs.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? All right.
Wait, one other something.
Go ahead.
Just on the flat side, will it still be, we're gonna have to get a re-roof, will it still be flat, or will we put in?
It'll be what we call a low slope tapered roof.
Water runoff.
It'll have some water to run off, yes.
They said that technology's gotten a lot better as far as advancements in those roof materials, so it would be a better functioning roof. Plus, because of the today's energy standards, we'll be having to replace the insulation. Those will be updated to current code requirements. So the building should perform from an energy performance standard better.
Mr. McNeil, I mentioned to you when you first met with us, that building is built on a landfill, and it'll always be settling. Will this type roof hold up under that movement?
Yeah, we recommended a modified bitumen torque supply type roof system. That's been, the last 20 years, the best roof to install because you're going to have maintenance men on top of this roof doing maintenance on the mechanical equipment that's there.
What's the length of the warranty?
It'd be a 20 years. That's what it's listed in that.
Thank you.
What I'd like to do is, begin to start gathering some bids, or not bids, but quotes for you because of the price, and follow that process so that I can bring it back and y'all can make a decision about what you need. I did want to keep, thank you so much. If y'all done,
take a motion to authorize them to go get 6 bids.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we authorize Mr. McNeil to move forward in seeking bids to get this work done.
It's been moved and properly second that we authorize JBHM to go forward with the bids, seeking bids, and bringing it back to the superintendent. Are you ready to vote? Are there any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries. Thank you.
I have a few other things, and I'm trying not to bore you, but I do want to give attention to what we've done since the last board meeting, and we've actually had a budget hearing within that. We had our retirement reception immediately after the last board for our entire district, which was wonderful. I hope to hang in there long enough to be one of those at some point. Hopefully right here, duly noted by the board, I hope. We also began some investigation for the board to try to find out where we are with our facilities, just kind of get a pulse of what we're looking at, what we need to be up to code, what we need for to get us where we need to be. And we talked to we got a free needs assessment by Johnson Controls, which has brought some things to our attention, and we plan on bringing that to the board so that they can mull over that and look at where we are. I also spoke at the Wiseman's group at the YMCA. I spoke at 2 Kiwanis Club meetings, and I also had a Hines Community Board meeting where I'm one of the board members due to the fact that I'm the superintendent here. I will tell you, at that particular board meeting, we took an active effort to make sure that no funds were removed. Even though it was not in the budget, we made sure that it got back in the budget so that our services, even though I'm not directly related to Hines Community College from the school side, the academic side was where the money was being taken, not from the high school side, but we got that placed back in there so that our services wouldn't be decreased at all in Vicksburg, because we're kind of bigger than just us. The other thing, we met with the Mississippi High School Athletic Association for any updates that are coming, and then we had our public budget hearing. And that concludes my update.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Superintendent, I found out from the assistant superintendent today that the estimated 500 visitors will be coming to our district for a convention. They'll be staying in our motels.
That's right.
Eating in our restaurants, spending money here. That economic impact will be several $1 million. And
Yes, sir.
I'd like for you to tell the public about that.
Sure. I actually serve, David Campbell and I serve on the Mississippi Association of Middle Level Education. It's a Mississippi statewide organization, and once a year they have their annual conference, and we solidified gladly. I was excited to say that Vicksburg is where we're going to be, which was kind of neat to be able to come back to the place where I started. My first year serving on that board 14, 15 years ago, Vicksburg was the place I chose to have my conference, and we are doing that again this year, and it will bring some commerce to us. We hope to showcase Vicksburg. I want everybody in this state to understand the good things that we have. There's too much good to ignore, and it's going to be on my lips everywhere I go. And so it's exciting. We have some neat things set up. We were able to explore some of the options for this particular conference. It will be in February. So they will be coming, and it will bring a ton of educators to Vicksburg. So we're really excited about that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Leviza?
Mr. Chairman, we'll call for additions or deletions to the minutes of June 9th. Are there any additions or deletions to our minutes as written? Not hearing any, I move that we approve the minutes of June 9th as written.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries. Mr. Superintendent.
Absolutely. Mr. McClung? Is this the last one?
This is the last one. Next month, we'll give some other fortunate individual the opportunity to address the board and give this information that we are required by the state to give you. Hopefully I won't stammer and stutter through this as I do sometimes. As is usual, I've prepared charts and graphs on our ad valorem tax collections for the fiscal year 2013 and 14. All the data contained here is through May 30th of 2014. The first chart is a chart of maintenance, homestead exemption, and negotiable notes, which we budgeted to receive from county taxpayers. We budgeted $26,260,397. We received $25,623,480.73. That's 97.57% received. And we have left to receive $636,916.67.
And Mr. McClung, we haven't received that through the end of June or July. The remaining.
I didn't hear what his question was.
When will we be able to determine if we have not received all the funds for tax collection for the previous year?
He's asking about when we'll be aware that there's a shortfall or not, or
When we get our dollars through June 30th.
June 30th.
Okay. So you haven't received anything, this was through the end of May, not, had nothing for June yet, is that correct?
This is till May, nothing for June yet.
No.
We're, collections are behind a month, just like, you know, what we
Just like
collected,
mine now.
what they collected in January to get in February. That's the main purpose of us preparing chart 2, is to tell where we are as far as collection. And this allows you to compare previous years with the current year. And you do see, starting in 2011, there's about a 2% short, 1% almost in 12, nearly 100% collection in 13. And this year, we're at this point, with 2 months left, 97.57%, with $25,623,475.19. I do have accompanying graphs of this information on both chart 1 and chart 2. The next chart is a chart of cash receipts for May. This chart shows you the date we received funds, the fund number where we will account for the revenue and expense of these dollars. You'll see the source amount, description, and the dollar amount. Total for this particular chart is $4,325,786.53. The next chart is a chart of expenses. This chart is for district maintenance operational fund 1120, and you will see the budgeted amounts for 3 categories: instruction, support services, and non-instructional. Total of $50,497,297. You will see the accompanying percentage of each one of those areas, totaling 100%. And you have actual month to date, actual month percentages, actual year to date dollars, actual year to date percentage, encumbrances, dollars and percentage, the balance of the budget in dollars and percentage, and then our month and the year percentages. Next chart is related to that previous chart. This is a cash flow analysis for this year. You have actual data through May. We have estimates for June, and you'll note down at the bottom the 7% that we need to have for carryover at the end of this year, which is a percentage of revenue. It's $3,877,252, and we have $2,931,566 estimated. June is still estimates, and this is $945,686 shy of what we'll need. for the end of the year. Keep in mind that this is estimates, and we really won't know until we finish the year and close our books and our ledgers. Next sheet is a cash flow loans that we made from 16th section interest to district maintenance. And you'll see we did a total of $7 million that we borrowed for cash flow, and we've already repaid all those. The next page is a page letting you know that we have reconciled our bank statements through April 30th, which we are required to do. And then the next sheet is a sheet that shows you our gaming collections by month from 2000 to 2014, and then previous fiscal years 1993 to 99, 1999, and fiscal year 2000 to 2014. Once again, I gave you the fund balances ending June 30th of last year. Any questions on the charts, graph, or additional information that you received?
Mr. McClung, I know you have nothing to do with this, but just reading in the paper, we see a big dip from 71 to 54,000, give or take, with our casino money. And then the paper just is telling us that they are 10.6% saw a drop. And so our funds are going to drop even more probably next month, if not the following month. So it's going to, our casino money is not doing as well as it has done in the past.
Well, utilizing the, wherever that chart is,
Second, third to the end.
just using the historical data that you see on this, I did cut our budget for 2015. I put 600,000 in there, 50,000 a month, instead of, a lot of times I use 60,000 a month for 720. But for next year, I did decrease it to 50,000 a month to kind of allow for that. Hopefully, it'll pick back up. Everybody will start feeling better, or feel lucky.
You'll be retired,
That's
so
right.
that's one good point.
Do they have these anymore?
They do.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, before our proposed consent agenda, we have moved the budget in, as in no, right before the proposed consent agenda. So at this time, do we have some questions or?
Mr. Stern, just
Yes, sir.
before we start discussing the budget, due to an state ethics ruling, any board member who has a family member who works in the district or receives compensation from the district is not allowed to participate in this section of the meeting. Therefore, I will be excluding myself, and I would ask that any other board member that has a family member that works in the district to do so as well, and as to not create an ethics violation. So I'll make sure any other board members that have immediate family members, I think Mr. Hobson might be able to clarify who would be considered a family member.
Coach Stevens has since gone, and I think the rest of us, we just have kids in there, and Mr. Leviza doesn't. So it's 3 out of 3.
I'll ask is if y'all want to just mute it, or do you want to call me back?
Do we have to cut him off and then call him back?
He needs to be totally recused from any discussion between you board members and of course the vote too. So
Yep.
either mute him or call back either way.
Okay, I'll wait here.
I'll call you back.
Mute me.
Good? All good? Okay. If I may, I have a question on this, and I don't know who I have to direct the question to, but under the proposed budget, is the 4% millage increase, is it included in the new proposed budget increase?
That's the, yes, sir, that's what we covered in that budget hearing. It is, we haven't changed anything from that original budget hearing request.
That's my question. Is there anybody else with any other question?
Before you call for a vote, I have a question or a statement.
Yes, sir.
I have always resisted tax increases in my public service because Mississippi is a conservative state and we have limited resources. So I want to explain what's going on with school money where you don't think the school system is requiring the county to add additional taxes. They are not. The state allows the county to give the school district X amount of money. The school district over the years has asked not to get the total amount. So let's look at $1. We're getting roughly 3/4 of that dollar at this time. The whole dollar is approved for the school system. We're only using 3/4 of that dollar. So we're not going to the county and saying, up everybody's taxes. We're simply asking for the part we're not using, which is already in the system. So there's no new taxes being added by the school district. And sometimes news releases appear different from what they really are. So the money is allotted to the school district. We have chosen in the past not to use the total amount. So any increase this year is to use that balance that we haven't been using. It's not anything new. I want you to understand that, to understand how the approach to spending your money is. And I'm sure that the county decides these things as far as tax amounts. Ad valorem taxes in particular is what we look at for school use. But the school itself is not upping your cost. Inflation causes an increase in cost. We have fewer administrators now in the school district than we've had in the past. We're doing just as much work with fewer people. So you need to understand that process to realize your school district is not wasting your money. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Levisor, but I must piggyback off of that to say that I'm not trying to debate Mr. Levisor, but when you have millage increase, when your millage increase, your taxes increase. So the dollar that he put up there is $1, but you're gonna pay for your car tag, your house, your businesses. So it is a tax increase. Now, we don't have to come to you, John Q., the public, up to 55 meals. We only had 48 meals now. So yes, we can go up. You can cry, but it's still a tax increase. Until we reach the 55 meals that Clinton, Madison Central, and what they've already done, there's nothing you can do about it. So in this budget, we are increasing your taxes, be it $1, be it $20. So I just want you to understand, it is a tax increase. Anytime you say millage and it's increased, it's your taxes. Just wanted to make that clear.
But it's not new from what's been done in the past.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not, but it's still, again, you're increasing taxes. Yes, ma'am, go
May I make a
ahead.
statement? My concern is that as board members, we swore an oath to protect and to do the best we could with your children, with my children, with all the children in this district. And we have played around with money the best we could. We borrowed from Peter to pay Paul the best we could. And we're going into a school year with buildings in disrepair, with classes without books, with AP classes without the certified books that they're required to have. And this is the face of our Warren Central School, Vicksburg Warren School District. And I think that as board members, we are remiss in not asking for that 4% increase.
We're not debating this bullet, but I will say that 2 years we spent money wastefully, and it's showing up now. So we have the board, those that were for it and those that were against it. But I'll leave that there. True, we don't have books. My kids don't have books in some of their classes. But if we increase this, here's what's going to happen in my opinion, Jim Sturgis' opinion. We will erase that deficit, and then next year we're going to come back to you and say, oh, we need some more money. We need more money for computers. We need more money for books. We need more money for this. And then we're going to hit you again and say it's not a tax increase. Now, $20 doesn't seem like a lot to some of you all, but for me, okay, that's my son's lunch money. Okay? That's my gas I put in my car. So when I go to somebody's business, they're gonna up the price. But again, I'm only one vote to tell anybody that, but I will say that, yes, is it needed? I would say we need to come back with a comprehensive plan to get every school we have, update everything we have, hit you one time and say, this is it, and then you look at it and see what it is, and I think we could get everybody to buy into it. We could have a Megatron, we could have everything else that the other schools in Hinds County have. But we're gonna come back and hit you, I guarantee you that. It's gonna be now and later. So what is the pleasure of the board here for the proposed budget?
I make a motion, we accept the budget that's been presented to us.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that motion with the understanding that I do not favor any additional taxes.
There's a motion and a second to
Make sure we're clear so that there's no confusion in the, I understand Mr. Levi's statement, but I want to make sure that it's not framed in the way I want to put words in your mouth. You're accepting the budget, but if I understand you correctly, you're not saying the county has to raise the millage that they can make it work within their budget, but you're not conditioning the acceptance of the budget tonight.
That is correct. That's my position statement, but I'm seconding her motion to approve the budget. We have to do this by a certain deadline. Mr. McClung, what's the deadline on this?
We have to have our budget into MDE by August 15th.
We only have one other board meeting before August, correct?
In July, you should be presented with a tax resolution for you to consider. And I think last year we had about 3 options.
Well, in order for our superintendents and principals to get the year started in August, we need to give them the green light to go ahead and do business. And so I'm supporting what Ms. Bullard is saying.
The resolution will have whether or not to add 4% or not. Or either you can have 2 and you pick the one you want.
Thank you.
It's been moved and properly second. Do we have any other questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Sturgis, no. Motion carries. This time we have.
So you would get coach and I'll call back here. Right.
Are you there? Are you there? Yeah, I'm here. Okay.
Now we're on the proposed consent agenda, which is F. Are there any items that need to be pulled?
I'd like to pull the student handbooks, please. That would be line item 6.
6, okay. Do we have any other?
On the F, line 4.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Have any others? Yes, okay. We already have 4 under F. We have, and I'm going to include, which is not normally done under the proposed consent agenda. I will go from F all the way through to M. So we're going to, it's going to be F4, F6, F7, F8, I1,
Mr. Sturgis, what do you call it, F8, where I can adjust my thing?
There was an adjusted agenda, Mr. Day.
Request for permission.
Thank you.
J, we're gonna have J 1 through 4 and 6, but I think I've been, those questions have been answered, so I wrote them down, and I think they've already been answered, but I'll just make sure everybody understands. I might just delete those. K 2 and 3, L 3, and M, we're going to have 3, 4, 5, and 7. Will we all go back, please, to those questions were answered for me, and there's no sense in boring you all with this. Just strike out all J. Strike out everything in J. All of that was answered. I do have one question though for J, and then I'm glad you're here. I'll ask you when we get to J. Under the norm, I just want to ask you one question about that.
But all of that's under consent.
Yes, ma'am. Everything's under consent. I have one question for county with the 189,000 proposed sale, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions on that one.
Okay.
Which one do we do this? Since we got a consent, why don't we go ahead and adopt the consent agenda with the exceptions y'all want to pull? And then let's, each one, G, H, I, and J, let's just adopt. If you don't have any to pull off those, you can adopt at that time
So
all
individual?
items in subsection H. Just
Okay.
do it that way, that's
Okay.
okay. Because I got a few I got to pull out J too.
Okay, good, okay. We'll just leave J as is. I've confused everybody. Let's just leave J as
We're just
is.
going to start with F and Jim.
Yeah, we can go on it. So make a motion that you approve.
Okay. I make a motion under consent agenda F to pull 4, 6, 7, and 8.
Second.
Okay, it's been a moved by second that we pull 4, 6, 7, and 8.
And adopt the remainder.
Are you ready to
And
vote?
adopt the remainder.
And adopt the remainder. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Coach, did you have, were you for? Who was for?
4.
4? I was for.
No.
Coach is for.
This is just a point for information, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
My agenda does not have an 8 on it under F. Have we given out an updated agenda? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
On the F4, I'm just, the reasons for the change.
Reason for the change is I was going to be with my child. And if I don't have to be, I won't be.
That's good.
Always good. Okay, and we changed it a week before the norm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're changing the okay.
For we go to July.
Okay.
For next week.
For
For
next month.
July's meeting.
Next month.
Right.
Next month, yes.
It's normally at the end, but it's going to be Thursday before the meeting. Do we have any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion we accept item 4.
Yes, sir.
It's been moved and properly second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried.
Handbook.
Handbook.
I would like to ask a question about level 3 offenses and level 4 offenses, please.
Sure. Which on the, we combined, we used to have individual ones for everything, and now we've got a secondary and an elementary.
Right.
You want to look at it on both?
They're both
or-
the same on both of them, so it
Okay,
doesn't matter.
all right.
All right, my question on a level 3 offense is that a knife is considered a level 3 offense. I'd like to see it moved to a level 4 offense.
Okay.
Can I also make a comment there with typo on the secondary handbook? Mr. Sturgis is junior. I haven't had, there's not a Brian Pratt yet.
That's right.
You know, did you?
I got it.
What's your request?
My request is that under the level 3 offenses, that a knife is considered a level 3 offense, and It's not in with any of the other weapons that are level 4 offenses. I guess is there a reasoning why a knife is not as dangerous as
You want to move that up to level 4?
a fight, or as dangerous as drinking, or is there,
Well,
is there a state law, is there a reasoning
no,
why
I
3?
can't give, there's no specific answers to that. And of course, that goes back to the discussion we had about a year ago on, we analyzed some of these, and I don't think that there was ever a policy adopted on how some of these offenses and how they were going to be. I think this is the same as it was last year.
Well,
but
there's some wording changes, and because I'm involved, and I know that there's a wording change, and I appreciate that wording change.
I just see this now for the first time, and I'm glancing at it quickly, that it looks like your level 3 offenses on the weapons, if I'm reading this right, are the same as level 4. Am I correct?
No.
On weapons, doesn't it say weapons not including firearms, but including weapons as mace, knives, dirks?
Which is the language in the Mississippi State Code of 1972. That's that statute, because there's a distinction between a misdemeanor and a felony.
3 or 4, because the penalty, I guess, is much more.
Yes, sir.
What's the different penalty between the two?
They're both a may result in 9-day suspension. We changed the wording from shall to may, which I appreciate. But the level 4 offenses also result in oh, no, I don't know, never mind, hold on.
They both also say up to 9, hearing before.
Right, discipline.
Yeah, level 4 offenses include a 12-month expulsion.
Yeah, level 4 is the expulsion, thank you.
And those are generally, or not generally, those are the things that Mississippi state law
Right.
require or permit. If there anything that's violent in more than 2 occurrences, or felony possession of weapons or narcotics, those things are defined in Mississippi State Code 1972 is currently amended for the expellable offenses.
I guess I just don't understand why a knife is not considered the same offense.
I might be looking at the wrong thing, but I'm looking at under level 3, under weapons. Y'all see level 3?
That's where I am.
Look at level 4 weapons.
It's knives.
What's the difference?
Where do you
between
see
the two?
level 4? Where do you see it?
Right below it. If I'm looking at
Weapons
the
defined.
secondary student handbook, level 3 offenses weapons.
Maybe I'm in a different handbook than you.
No, the secondary page.
I'm under.
You're looking at the
That may be what it is.
K through, you're probably looking at the K
I thought
through
they
6.
said exactly the same thing, so that may be the problem.
Yeah, that's,
They're not the same in both handbooks?
Probably not, but
Okay.
if you look at the level 3, level 4 offenses, I think there is a mistake in this, unless I'm reading something. I'm just looking at it the first time, but it's the same definition for weapons under both level 3 and level 4.
Okay.
So we got to get that corrected.
Mr. Attorney,
Yes.
may I offer a suggestion, please?
Yes, sir.
Because I didn't really, and it's not your all's fault, but I didn't get a chance to really fully read this within a week. I'm brilliant, but I'm not that brilliant to read both of these handbooks within I make a motion
is there anything that's holding us up that would cause a problem for tabling it?
Other than printing, which we got on print press. So.
When do you need to have it to the student? When's the first day of the orientation when you give them to the students? Is that
We need them on August 1st to review.
so we can approve it next month? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we table the student handbook.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second that we table the student handbook. Are there any questions? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is so carried. Thank you. Okay. On the request for waiver of insurance, on the student here, I know we've done this in the past, but my question is this, what's for it? When is he trying to, or she trying to participate with them? Is it during the winter months, or is it right now when it's not MSAA approved, or what is this?
That would be when regular season is upcoming because it's a new enrollment. We're talking about the participation in sports, but not being able to participate in the games because they're ineligible. That wouldn't be an immediate placement. That's during the regular season. Is that correct?
I'm missing out on what y'all talking about, that with waiver of insurance.
That waiver of insurance is the one that, we've allowed students to transfer to the Mississippi High School Association as deemed ineligible from some of the, and I would like to publicly point out that, and this may be appropriate or not, I don't really care. I would like to point out that our school district has never, not one single time in the history of this school district, damaged children moving to another school. With that being said, we have a child that's been deemed ineligible from the school that it's coming from.
Due to transfer, then
Due to
you have
transfer.
insurance that he'll
That is
sign
correct.
a waiver with y'all.
And we've done this in the past with multiple
For a
students.
complete 12-month period until he becomes eligible.
But his question is, the summer, if this were, let's say for baseball, but we have current baseball games, this is for next season beginning August 1, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And if they're in our summer league, they also sign a waiver because they are underneath our guidance and underneath Warren Central or Vicksburg School District.
Correct.
Mr. Wright, if I may ask then, during the summer months, we're not under
Mississippi High School.
the high school, but
But we are covered by our insurance that
Okay,
we take out and our catastrophic with Mississippi High School Team Association.
point well taken. But my question is this is a football player or a cheerleader, can he or she during August, September, October, November practice with the team? I know they can do it in the summer months, but now you are under the actual activity association. So will I be able to practice then?
Yes, but you can't participate in it.
Cannot play in a ball game.
And this is for baseball, right? Didn't I
I
understand?
think this
This
one's
is
for
baseball.
So, well,
But it
That's
could
what
be
we
for all
approved last
sports, even if it wasn't.
That's what we've done last time.
That's what we've done.
well, I know that most of, I thought I was at a meeting where it said, we say we could do it in the summer, but we couldn't do it in the winter.
Mhm.
That's why I was.
No, they can
Okay.
play games in the
They
summer.
can play games in the
but they
summer,
can't
that's
play
what you're
games any other
remembering.
regular season. But you can participate in that.
I'm saying the ineligible player can participate during once a season starts.
They can participate in the
spring.
practice.
Correct. No sanctioned games.
Is that correct?
I thought that once a player is ineligible, then he forfeits all participation and right with the team.
No, sir. We discussed this. That was one of the things that we talked about with the Mississippi High School Athletic Association. They're not under our insurance any longer that's covered through the
Right,
Mississippi.
I understand, the insurance part, but what I'm saying is that if he is ineligible, then it's a waste of time for that kid to practice with that sport during season.
Coach, let me go over, there's two steps. There's a transfer student that had good grades
Okay.
and that was eligible.
Okay.
What eliminated him was transferring.
Okay.
And we take all of our kids
That's
that
right.
have not made the grade, that are ineligible. We ask them to stay in the classroom until they need to be going to school. So this deals with
that's not that
eligibility
great.
of a good kid that's come in, has been knocked back due to the rules, versus one that is ineligible that needs to be in class going to school. We do not want them to stay in anything until they
Thanks,
get
Coach.
their grade.
That explains it.
I got
Thank
you.
Yeah, that explains it.
Legit question.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we accept F7.
A second?
Oh,
You're chairing it now.
oh, I am the chair.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion that we accept F7.
Thank you, Coach.
I second the
Thank you, Ms.
motion.
Bullock.
I'm sorry.
It's been moved by the second that we accept F7. Are there any other questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Under F8, Mr. McClung, I couldn't let you get away without asking you, is he gone? Oh, one more question. You were in your normal seat, that's why I said he is gone.
I trying to hide behind Rowdy.
You did a good job till you raised your hand. You had talked about the 7% earlier.
Yes.
And on this one here, it talks about the district maintenance fund and the 7% requirement, song and dance. Would you kind of explain to me what?
At the public hearing, you recall that we have a deficit between our revenue and expenses. The dollar amount, that 3.7 million approximately, would do two things. First, it would help us meet the 7% at June 30th of 14. It also, based on the budget numbers, enable us to have that 7% at June 30th of 2015. A lot of activity will be going on. A lot of people would, y'all seen a lot of resignations. There'll be a lot of people going out of the system and a few, a lot coming in. I'd like to say a few, but replacements, and those are being looked at carefully. So you'll have a difference between salaries. So just using the budget data, I came up with that amount of money that would need to be transferred to, it would clear us automatically for June 30th, 14, but it also would cover us that 7% at the end of 15.
Part of that in trying to do some of what you're fighting for, we do have 16 section interest that's there. Now, we never like to get into it because every dollar you spend out of your 16 section interest is equity that you no longer have. Every nickel that we spend is money we can't get anywhere else in the future. But with that being said, we do know that we're trying to be balanced with that. Looking at a 4% increase, we also felt that it was our responsibility, and for whatever decisions that have been made, to try to cover up some of that with that 16 section interest. And being honest about what our budget is, in the past what we've done is we've approved the budget with a deficit knowing that it's going to be there. In every board meeting, you come back and hear that we're below budget, we're below budget, we're below budget. What we're proposing to do differently this year is to look at the deficit, acknowledge that deficit, and then stay within that budget that's been approved.
So if I understand you all correctly, we're going to raise the millage 4%, plus we're going to take about $3 million out of Section 16. About $4 million out of Section. Okay.
For 2 years.
Okay.
And if the resolution is not passed as before, it will be determined at a later point in time whether or not we have to add $1 million out of 16 section interest. That'll be more toward the end of 6/30/2015.
So there's my tax I told you all about.
But that's really not a tax because that's.
Well, I mean, we have the money, but we have $9 million in there, but you're still taking $4 million of the 9. So hit you one way, we'll hit you another way. But anyway, do we have any other questions? All right, we can go to Washington, D.C. We can solve problems. Is there a motion to accept the...
I make a motion we accept line item 8.
There's a second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept F8. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Sturgis, no. Motion carried. Mr. Shealy, you're doing well. I appreciate you getting all your expenses paid and not touching the school funds.
I'm trying.
You're going to be an excellent superintendent. I wish everybody else in the school would follow your lead.
So do I need to make a motion?
No, I didn't even pull that one out.
Yeah, but we did F only. I make a motion we accept G.
Okay.
Second.
Remove the proper second that we accept the out-of-state travel G1. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Pulling anything out of H, Jim?
No H.
I make a
anything?
motion, we accept H in its entirety.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second that we approve H. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
I want to make one thing, bit of information available to the public. There are no new positions being added in the school district. Is that correct, Mr. Superintendent?
That's correct.
That's good news.
We're
Trying to
trying
level this thing out where the cost not beyond what we think.
We're also trying our best to take positions that can be taken care of through attrition, to move people around to fit those positions as we can.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are we pulling I? Didn't you ask
Yes,
for
yes,
I?
I think
Tracy, no, let's
Dr.
make a
Prater.
motion.
she is
She
here.
is.
And Doc, you've done a wonderful job. I really can't ask you many questions. I appreciate the second thing. I do have one question for you.
He said not many.
Yeah.
Not many,
But because
okay.
you said the second thing and I was able to answer the majority of my questions. I do appreciate it very much. We got that. Thank you very, very much for that. The question I have is, and I just want everybody to understand when we say a consolidated federal program, because I see we're including the Vicksburg Catholic School, how the Title I and Title II, and in here, how it, helps all the students in maybe a 1-minute splash. But I see here where you said the cost of the administrating the test scores and the pre-K student, and it's also associated with the private schools as an indirect cost. So kind of like,
Okay.
let us know how it works.
All right, all of that is the administrative cost of Title I. The district is allowed to take 20% of the total allocation in order to administer the program. That administration part involves the salary for the individuals that run the federal program office. It also involves anything that I need to operate the program or the administration of the program. The indirect cost rate is 2.86% this year. We take that amount from the 400 and some thousand that I'm using for administrative costs. We give that to the district. That is indirect costs that we give to the district, and that's a federal requirement because the federal government says that we're using your lights, they're using the lights, they're using the heat and everything, so that's an indirect cost. And I think it's $67,000 that's given to the district as an indirect cost. When it says to administer the private school, the funds that the private school receives is for the students. So anything that's needed as far as administration costs for them, it has to come out of that admin amount.
This is all federal funds,
Yes, sir.
no matching funds local.
No, sir. This is the Title II money that you all receive and the Title I money.
We don't provide any services, we just provide the money.
To the private school, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
We don't provide any money to them, we provide the services to them. They request things through us. We are the fiscal agent. They never receive any money directly from us. Now, I'll take the the teachers that are there. If they were to go to a conference and they paid it in advance, or either we advanced them the money, we give the teachers the money for professional development, but we do not give the school anything. That's against the federal law. We're the fiscal agent.
Ms. Prater,
Yes, sir.
last board meeting, we talked about our principals doing, going to different meetings.
Yes, sir.
Had any of our principals taken you up on?
No, sir, that was the first thing I did Friday morning. And I do have an email I sent out to building principals, and there were no additional principals that wanted to.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any more questions?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You did a wonderful job of shutting me up.
I make a motion, we accept I in its entirety.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. I-1. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries. Okay, we're under 16th section. And we'll just go from all the way down. We'll just go in the order that it is. Do we have anything for one with the termination? Oh, termination of the lease. I do have a question on one. With this termination of the lease that's behind, and I don't know, I guess, are they still staying there? Have we sent them a letter to say they're going to be?
I have sent her certified letters, I sent her a number of letters, and in each letter, I told her that she was in jeopardy of losing her lease. I talked to her on the phone, and I told her the same thing. Then she told me that she would be in, I think it was like 3 Mondays ago, paid it all and catch up. I've not heard anything from her since.
So are we going to send her a letter to say that she don't have to move or anything? Does that come next, or?
The next step is, if you approve it, I'll send her a letter telling her the lease has been terminated. She'll have 60 days to remove everything off the line.
Does she currently have a house or a trailer, or what's on the property?
I know that she has a trailer up there. It's also a house up there that I was going to get Mr. Sims to go up there and see if anyone was in the house, because I don't know if she vacated the house and put a trailer up there. That's something that we'll have to look into, but if the lease is terminated, it will be her responsibility to remove the house also.
What do we do if they don't remove it, Mr. Trump? What is our recourse?
30 days,
They
it
don't
becomes
remove,
property of
well,
the district.
the house itself, if it's affixed to the land, if this is a brick and mortar type house, it's gonna stay with the land. If this is just a mobile home, then they can remove it from the property. And I think that lease is 45 days, maybe 60, but I was thinking it's 45 days. You may have looked at it. But whatever, according to terms of the lease, we'll let her know she's got that much time to get everything off the property.
Okay.
So we have done all of our due diligence as far as we are concerned.
I did not tell her that I was taking it to the board to terminate, but I have, in letter after letter, tell her that she was in jeopardy of losing her lease.
And if we present her with the board, present her a letter from board that it would be a termination at the point that she pays her bills, then we're okay to opt out of the termination.
Well, no, not really. This is terminating the lease now.
That's the
She wants to
question
come
I'm
back and request that a new lease get renewed and take her money up front like all the other tenants do, and we could enter into a new lease if she have to, pay it up front. And there's a provision in the lease that says that you got a right on failure to pay. Essentially, you got a right to terminate immediately, giving them time to get off the property that Christine talked about.
And she could always, I guess, come to you all after she gets this letter and talk to you all if she wants to enter into a new lease.
I make a motion that we,
Just a second, Mr. Pratt, please. Do we have any other questions? Mr. Pratt, your motion, please.
my motion is to accept termination of the residential lease pursuant to the original lease agreement.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept termination of residential lease. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries.
Yes.
Oh,
I think we'll try to do everything we can to let this lady have a place to stay. And sometimes we have to bend the rules a little to help poor people. And I'm in favor of doing everything we can to help this person. I'm familiar with that situation.
we had one next.
1, 2, or J2.
Oh, yeah, I was,
I have a question on J2.
okay, go ahead, sir.
We're providing this lease for this land for what purpose? I'm concerned that there's a comment in here related to a tower. Why are they wanting such a small piece of land? It's 0.11 acre.
That is a regular tower. Mr. Jones is here. If you would like to ask him some questions about it. Mr. Jones?
Thank you.
You're fine.
Okay.
Brad, I'll be glad to answer any questions about
Yeah,
it.
what is the purpose of this additional, I think you already have an adjoining lease. What's the need for this additional acre? Not an acre, it's a 0.1 of an acre.
Now, this would be a separate parcel that'll be split off from Lamar's lease. And Kimball Slate and I configured this to use the smallest amount of property that we possibly could to put the tower on if we can get approval from the FCC and the FAA.
And what kind of tower would it be? We'd still have to approve you putting a tower on, correct? Or are we, by approving this, Mr. Hobson, are we allowing him to do anything he wants with the land?
We would be allowing him to put the tower there. He's already got another lease with the school district right now, I think, for another tower. And Mark, I don't know, is this a new tower or is this?
Right, this would be a new tower, and we're trying to do this so because the county needs one for some public service antennas as well, which we're going to work with them on. Most of these towers have been bought up by huge conglomerates, and we would be the only probably independent tower that's in the county, and I think it would provide a service. Of course, here again, Mr. Pratt, I'm trying to get, need approval of the property first, and then I can go ahead and file with the FCC and FAA to get approval to put the tower there. And that's what I was looking to do. But
What kind of tower is it? How tall is the tower? What is its function?
It'd be 349 feet. It'd be for, we're going to move our FM tower from B105.5 of VWSD FM to that site, and also allow, have other tenants on the tower. That's what we're looking to do as well, including some from Warren County, working with the supervisors.
I have a question, if I may, and it's not for you, Mr. Jones. I just want to make sure that under the, if it's approved, is it a 5-year lease like all the others? It will be? Or how will that lease run? Or is it a year to year, or?
I would rather have a longer term lease. Now, bear in mind, what I need to do is to get it where it begins upon my approval. Well, I think we need to get something done with the state to separate the property off from the hunting lease. That needs to be done. And also, I need to get approval. I don't want to have a lease of the property I can't use. So you've got to start somewhere. And what we're looking to do is, once we get the property, then I can go forward to try to get approval to put the tower there from the FCC and the FAA, which I don't think is a problem, but you don't want to make assumptions.
Let me ask you, if I may.
Yes, sir.
You asked a question, Mr.
I was just asking about the lease, that's all.
Go ahead and finish it out.
What, no, I didn't know how long it would be, or if it would be, maybe be the same as the other one that he has with us already. Is it a 1 year, 5 year?
I think the other one's a 25-year, with 5-year escalation clauses, if I remember. Does that sound right, Christine, Mark?
I think it's 15, probably 15 years on the 8-year site. And I would like to be long-term because you don't want to have to be moving the tower. I mean, that's a major deal, you know. I like it to be at least a 15-year lease. And that way, that's something that protects you and protects us as well.
I guess the dilemma is if we go short-term lease, because you don't know if you get approval, you know, we could do a 1-year lease. I don't think that'd be a problem, and you can seek approval. And I don't think there would be any problem with the board extending that lease next year. I can't speak to the board; they may, you know, decide something else. But if you lock into a long-term lease, you know, you're going to have two options. One is to make sure you get it done, or two, you're stuck with a long-term lease that you may have to pay out unless the board forgives it. And Barnett may want the property. These J2 and J3 are kind of tied together. I don't know if Barnett wants that property if you don't use it.
Well, that's what the question is, really, whether or not I can, you know, I need to be able to make additional on me getting the approval. I don't mind doing the long term as long as I can get approval. And Christine and I worked together on this. We didn't know exactly how to proceed with it.
but my other lease is up on the other side, excuse me, next April. So if I don't get this done quickly, I won't have time to do anything, because it takes normally 3 to 4 months to go through the FCC, and if they make me do some kind of environmental study or something, that may take even longer. So we're dealing with, you know, you just don't know, it makes it difficult the way they do these things to decide what to do first. So to me, the first thing would be to, if we had a lease that was where I could maybe get a 1-year opt-out if it didn't work, and I'd be glad to pay the lease amount to the school board and just have to eat it if I can't use it for a year. But of course, I wouldn't want to have to pay it for 20 years if I couldn't use the land. So if there's a way to do it that way, if you have a suggestion, that would be the best.
With Barnett, I don't know if he's here, would he be willing to lease back that 0.4 acres?
I'm sure it would.
You know, that maybe we could get, if he would agree to lease that, in the event that you're leased, that if FCC does not approve you, Mark, if he'll do that, then we'll have a contingency if it doesn't work for you, because it's going to be hard for the district to lease a 0.4 acre parcel.
It's already part of the Mark Barnett's recreation where he has his camp and everything. So I don't think it would be a problem to add it back to him, give it back to him.
If he's willing to do that, you know, we got to reclassify that too, it sounds like. So I know we need to move quickly, but the reclassification, all the board can do tonight would be to approve it contingent upon the reclassification, and I don't care how to do it. We can either do a short term with understanding. I mean, we can't affirm it for sure. If Barnett will agree to pick up the difference in the lease, then if yours doesn't work out, Mark, then he can just, so he'll do an assignment. Would the FCC accept an assignment from him to you for?
Well, of course, they don't, the FCC has anything to do with the land. All they're looking at is the tower. I don't foresee any problem with the commission, with the FCC. The only thing that you can run into sometimes is things like environmental. If they may be doing an environmental study and there happens to be an Indian burial ground underneath this property that we don't know about. And I'll tell y'all, they'll get, it's different now than it was 30 years ago. So they can come up with all kinds of things. But I'm
One quick
thinking
question, physically, where, can you describe where this is again? It says Fulton, but where is this physically at?
it's right over there by Levi's. It's right on Lamar Barnett's lease section. It's right there by
Down
Levi's.
the road.
Clear, just a clear area. It's kind of perfect for what this is, because that's the reason why we can use such a small amount. It's already cut. There's nothing there. And we've got it figured where the guide wires can come down. It's not going to obstruct anything. And the actual property is just part of Lamar Barnett's piece, so he's willing to just let us split it off and utilize that part. And so, I mean, I wouldn't have any problem with it. If we could get approval, then it would just simply revert back to the way it is now, which is part of the parcel.
Why don't you just approve 2 and 3, subject to reclassification and FCC approval?
I have a motion in mind, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to move that we approve Mr. Jones. He'll have a major investment there, and we'll do better with a business on that property than we will with a hunting lease. And I move that we approve it for 25 years, that as long as all legal requirements are met. And that way he can invest his money, get his work started, and we'll benefit in the long run.
Can you make that subject to, because we're going to need to reclassify it, no, I'll have to start that process.
I just grouped all that as legal requirements being met, because I'm not smart enough to understand all of it. But you understand what I'm saying, Mr. Chairman, that all legal requirements are met. And the school system is protected.
So if I can repeat what Mr. Levine just said, he'd like to approve the motion contingent upon the reclassification, but he also wants the contract, the lease to go for 25 years.
What Ron just
2 and
said.
3, correct?
Yes, sir, 2 and 3. Yes, sir. Go.
Second, I'll second that.
Okay. We got one question, go ahead.
Do we want to hold them into a time before, the year to make sure, see, like Greg said, he'd be locked in
For
25 years.
Well, he's gonna have a major investment of his
Yeah.
funds.
If he
I think he ought to
doesn't,
be protected.
Well, here's what I'm thinking, we're not going to, reclassification's going to take a few weeks anyway, and then he can start working with FCC approval. At the same, during that time, I'd like Christine to get with Mr. Barnett and make sure he's willing to release the rest of that property. Okay. And then if then that'll take care of that problem. In the event the gentleman doesn't work out, and he can notify us, if he doesn't get FCC approval, and we can terminate and cancel the lease and then just release it right back to Barnett, so there'll be no loss to the school district at that point.
Second.
We already have Brian has already had a second, so it's been moved and probably second that we don't understand what you just said. All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried.
Actually, that was two. That's two. They were kind of tied together. There's a motion to approve Barnett.
But also that, there's a motion that we approve two.
Yeah, we did 2 and 3
that's 2
together.
and 3, we're on.
Yes, sir.
I don't think it was. I think the motion was to approve Barnett's lease is separate. So really to approve.
Now we're on
Okay,
3.
so now we're on 3. Is there a motion to, thank you, Coach. Is there a motion to accept 3?
I make a motion that we accept.
It's two, right?
It's separate two. You were discussing it together. Just a motion to approve Barnett's lease.
Barnett's lease.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to accept Barnett's?
Yeah, I second.
Been moved and probably second that we accept Barnett's lease. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Now we're on J4. J4. Now I do have one question, sir, Mr. Walker. And I know these are estimates, expenses, and estimate revenue that you're saying we have from the sale of the timber. But is it a norm for you all, and could be ignorant on my part, that you all take about 43 or 44% of the revenue?
Talking about all of the costs combined?
Yes, sir.
Being 40-something%?
Yes, sir. We pay y'all 40+%. Like this one is like 43%. That's going to come out of the 185,000.
That's just the way that one turned out this year. Like I said, that's not a norm, it's just based on the work that was needed to be done for the year, that's just the way it turned out. And some of those things like technical assistance and fire break and road maintenance will not be anywhere close to that. I just put a dollar figure that I felt comfortable I would not go over, because things like the pipeline appraisals and stuff like that, they come up all of a sudden. You don't know when you're going to have one, when you're not. So I would think that number would be much lower than what you're seeing.
I have a question also, or clarification. These particular costs are not billed to us now, they're billed to us as they are needed and occur.
Are there any other questions? Is there a motion to
accept?
There's a motion, is there a second?
I second.
We moving properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Is there a motion to accept 5?
No questions. I accept, I make a motion we accept line item 5, J5.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept J5. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Under 6.
I need to know that executive session because it involves these negotiations.
6?
6.
Okay. So do we need to take this out?
I make a motion that we move line item J6 to executive session.
Second.
Moving properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. There a motion to approve 7?
Yeah, I've got one here. 2
Okay.
bids. Christine is the only 2 bids we received.
Yes.
Actually, one bid for each parcel. First one identified is 1674 west. And the bid received on that property is from Tom McDonald. Is that correct, Christine? Tom McDonald, in the amount of $10,000. His cashier check and $9,000. Bid appears to be in order. Minimum bid is $10,000.
That was the only one, Mr.
That's all.
Attorney? Okay. So is there a motion to accept?
I make a motion, we accept Mr. McDonald's bid of $10,000.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries.
Okay. Now we got 1616-4 east. Bid is amount $6,805. There is cashier's check for 10%. It is by Lamar Burnett. And that bid also appears to be in order. That's the only bid received on that parcel.
Is there a motion to accept?
I make a motion, we accept Mr. Barnett's bid.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. You ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries. Do we have any other, Mr. Attorney?
No others.
We're under K now. Just need to approve K1. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve K1.
That's the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
What's the word?
So carries.
I'm brain dead.
Get tired.
Don't-
Yeah, I think I am. Motion so carries. Thank you. Under K2, I just have a few questions under K2, and maybe K3, if I'm able to, Mr. Attorney, I'd like to maybe bunch over those, it looks like 2 and 3 is the same question. It was a stolen laptop or laptop. And I just wanted to know, and Mr. Pratt, he's probably on top of this one.
Lomar, is that the one you're looking at?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What, does it say when it was stolen?
It's acquired date, didn't say anything else. It was acquired in 2013, but doesn't say when it was stolen or lost or what happened.
Did we leave it on the desk, or did they break the window, or I just have.
Yes.
They broke in.
Yes.
So it was left on the desk. I'm going to
Well,
at night or during the day. At night.
It was part of the regular classroom setup, and they broke out one of the windows, crawled in, and actually threw that particular one out the window, and then the alarm sounded, and we responded, and that's all they got.
Do we have a police report? Because normally they put a copy of that police report or something to go with that.
I can get y'all one. You want to
I
table it
was
till you
just
see it?
accompanied with the documentation just so that we have it, so we show that we followed our.
Oh, it's attached.
Oh, it is, I didn't see it. Mine. No board docs that didn't show up.
Oh.
Yes.
We'll get it uploaded in board doc.
We have, I think at one time, and this is not the time or the place to talk about it, but we had talked about all these stolen computers, laptops, and we should make somebody accountable for it. So, is there a motion to accept?
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
The motion proper second, that we accept K2 and K, does anybody have anything for 3? K3. Are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries.
I make a motion, we accept line item 1 and 2 under L.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion so carried. Guys, I know we approved this, and please, I get on my knees and beg. Under K3, it's already been approved, and I ask that we go back. I do have one question right here, if I may. I know it's been already approved, but under K3, with the football scoreboards at Vicksburg High and Warren Central, they say they are technically obsolete and no longer serviceable. I know Vicksburg High wasn't, but the Warren Central High School, this is the football's scoreboard. Is that right, Mr. Wright? And so are we going to take that for pieces, or are we just going to throw it away, or what are we planning? I know you can't use Vicksburg. We was using the YMCA at Vicksburg.
The part, you know, it's sitting out there.
I mean, what are we going to use it for? Are we going to just throw it away, or so it won't be used anywhere else?
No, sir. There's no parts for it. Nobody would probably buy it due to the fact that we took the last parts we found for it, and it was out of a used scoreboard. So it's obsolete.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I apologize for being out of order. Under L3.
Y'all, you approve one too?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Under L3, under this air chiller for $175,000, was this the only bidder we received for this, or was it just for?
That's just a cost estimate. It hadn't been bid yet.
That's what it's requested.
It's requested.
Oh, you requesting to send it out for bid process?
That's right. That's kind of
Okay.
ballpark what we think it's going to be.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Bill.
I make a motion, we accept line 3 under L.
Second.
Moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Now we're on to M.
I make a motion, we accept 1, 2, 6, and 8 under M.
Pull one, I got one
Pull
question.
1, okay.
Pull one.
And you pull 3, 4, and 5.
Well,
and 7.
I believe it or not, see, I have 2 right here. I have a question, and you're right, keeping cheating. I need to ask a question on 2, if I may.
Okay, so we're only,
We're on one.
Yes, sir.
We're on
so
1
we're
now?
only going to accept line items 6 and 8.
6 and 8, uh-huh.
I make a motion under M to accept line items 6 and 8.
Second.
We're moving properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Yes, sir.
Heidi,
Yes,
did I
sir.
see you- is this the same contract we had last year?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. I saw it on the agenda and I just got it, did this contract today, so I didn't know if it was the same. As long as it's the same as last year, we're good.
It's the same contract. yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
I make a motion, we accept line item M1.
Second.
We're moving properly second. Any questions? Other questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Only under 2, under the professional development service, the $2,300, is this per hour, per day, per minute, per contract period under this? And we did approve some professional development at the last meeting. We did some 23s and 3,000s. Is this one, what's the cost, what's the time period of this one? Under digital, I think.
It's by day.
Ma'am,
It is by day.
and how many days they plan on being here?
It's,
Or how does that
for
work?
that particular contract, it is for 1 day.
This
But
is
it's-
just a one-day affair.
It needs to state that then, because I think you're right, Mr. Sturgis.
I agree.
We circled one of those parameters, so we are agreeing to the right contract. It doesn't have one of those selected.
I'm through. Do you have any other questions?
I make a motion with the adjustments to the contract to be a 24-hour time period. We accept line item 2.
Second.
We're moving properly second. necessary adjustments. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carries. Under M3, I guess it's pretty much the, I guess this is $40 an hour. And how many hours, how many days will Ms. Torres be here?
Currently she was our employee, she was one of our psychometrists. Mr. McClung said that we could pay her on a time sheet, her hourly rate. She has quit to go back to graduate school. She's still working on open cases. We have to do assessments throughout the year, but our psychometrists don't work 240 days a year. They're only on a 220-day contract, and that started this year, so we have a month where we still need to do assessments and we're not. So she's actually been working almost full-time, probably 5-6 hours a day, to get those cases done and to continue with the next ones that are going on, in addition to doing gifted testing, preschool assessments, writing reports, having the meetings with parents. Our process doesn't stop in the summertime. We don't get a vacation from assessments and our timelines that are mandated by the federal and state government.
So this is for $40 per hour, but we don't know what
Well, it comes out of it's out of the IDEA grant. Most of the money what she's doing right now, she's doing special ed testing. So that's coming out of our stipend money for our federal budget. And we can pay her hourly rate, which is less, because she had resigned to go back to graduate school. But then today, Mr. McClung said we could pay her our hourly rate, which would be less. But yeah, she's working almost full time.
So,
I would be happy to give you our caseload. We met on over 300 cases this school year on parents and teachers and schools that requested an assessment. Probably 75% of those we move forward with an assessment. Those are for initials. That's not including our reevaluations that happen. Each assessment, we have a 60-day window to complete that assessment. Each assessment takes approximately, depending on the extensiveness of what's required, can take anywhere from 10 to 20 hours in writing a report, having the meeting, working with the student, gathering the information, analyzing all of the data that's gathered in the schools, from the parents, and the different assessments that we do. So there's no way to say
How much time, Brian?
right.
so
But we are mandated by federal law to complete those assessments within 60 days. We are mandated to do a comprehensive assessment. We are mandated to identify all students in the Vicksburg Warren School District that may be in need of special education services.
So she's the only someone doing this?
No, sir. We already have a contract with another psychometrist who does not work in our district. We have a psychometrist that we're paying hourly because she's still under contract with the district. We have a speech pathologist who is also a licensed psychometrist that is doing assessments. And I can tell you that they are working every day. We met today on a preschool case. We met on another case that we have to do a comprehensive evaluation on. We started the 60-day timeline today. We're going to try to get that done before school starts so that that child will be ready for services on August 3rd.
So we don't have any psychometrists on our payroll?
We do. We have 4 psychometrists.
Okay.
But they do not work 240 days a year. Their contracts are over, and they don't start again until the middle of July.
So this just gets us through the summer, is that what I'm understanding, Commissioner? That just gets us through
That
that
does say a
summer month
full
with
year
this
because she
contract.
will be in graduate school. So if she was home on break and we needed some additional help, we could ask her to come in and do it because she's familiar with our district and with our staff and our protocol, our procedures.
Okay, so that's where I'm going. So in August, the 4 that we have on staff
We'll all be
can
active. We'll all
take
be
this
active. Yes.
load, and we wouldn't need her then. So my question is, why was this from June 14 to June 15 when you wouldn't need her?
Because next summer, we might need her when like I said, she works for the district and has for 3 years. So
Yes,
she's-
ma'am, I'm not debating that issue.
But she wouldn't be working all year. She would only be used during the school year on an as-needed basis if she was available, and she may or may not be available because she'll be in graduate school. So we can just say through July 31st, I don't have a problem with that, but I need her to be there to do assessments.
You just, to play it safe, you did it a blanket across the year in order to give us a contract with her, so
I
that
did. So
if
that
we
would cover
needed
the
her
fiscal year, but it
when
would
you
also
had
cover the end
people
of
that were
this
out,
fiscal
it
year.
covered the whole time frame.
Make a motion we accept.
I make a motion, I second the motion.
Been moved and properly second that we accept M3. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sturgis? Motion so carries. Under M4, another professional development, certified staff. This contract is through August 2014 to June 15, and it's $3,000 a day. Do we know how many days we can,
It is 1 day.
about, just 1 day?
Ms. Johnson, how is this being paid? Is this being paid out of regular district funds, or are you paying for this out of any other money?
No, so most of this is federal funds.
I make a motion we accept with the stipulations, this is for 1 day.
I second the motion.
Been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Sturgis, no. Motion so carried. Under M5, pretty much the same song here. Under mine, it's $3,000 a day, and this is coming out of general funds. We just asked for a tax increase. And then we get money out of section 16. But anyway, how many days is this?
It is 1 day.
1 day affair. Do you have any other questions?
This is, I'm trying to say on here where it says it's coming out of district funds, it's coming out of district funds.
Yes, these services will be paid by general funds.
Okay.
Right up on the background
What
information.
is this train, what is this professional development again, Ms. Johnson?
The purpose of this is when we had done an assessments prior to, many times we will send our secretaries or some members of our staff individually to various conferences for appropriate professional development relative to customer service and how we deal with angry parents. So what we try to do in order to conserve funds is to hire one person and have everyone who deals with those type of situations attend. So in this particular piece, it would be every employee, all of our office secretaries, our secretaries out at the transportation office, at the bus, where else do we have out here? People in the central office. So we would have probably anywhere ranging from 50 to 75 people attending this, which is far cheaper than sending one person off to the tune of $300. So we're trying to...
It's not, we're not limited by the number of people we can stick in a room, is what you're saying.
I'm sorry?
Are we limited by the number of people we can stick in the room?
Absolutely not, and that's why we're trying to utilize it. We try to bring the resources here, and that way we don't have to pay for the mileage or anything else. So we have almost all of our support staff that will be able to attend this, and it's really maximizing the cost. So while it is 1 day, for $3,000, we cannot request this to be taken out of federal funds because it is not instructional, but certainly with the openness of our schools, our support staff need training and they need help, and we've tried to provide that for them for this venue.
And this is because the first face that y'all hear or the first voice you hear is not mine. It's our secretaries, it's our and our support staff handle so many things that never really get to us, and we want them to have the appropriate training. That's the reason we're requesting that, so that they can have the support they need to handle you as a community as you call in with needs. And they're important too.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes, sir.
it will be mandatory for all secretaries.
Yes, sir. All secretaries, anyone who deals with any type of meeting and greeting people, personal emergencies. Like sometimes we don't have nurses in all of our schools, but we have kids who get sick and we have kids who get hurt. So all of that will be involved with that, how to handle those type situations with this particular one-day training.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sturgis? Motion so carries. Just 6, if nobody has a question on 6.
We already did 6.
Oh, thank you very much.
We did 6 and 8, now it's 7.
Thank you, Ms. Bullock. Keeping me, my brain is getting short. Under M6, under the Singapore math, I think I found out, is this going to be a half-day, a whole-day workshop?
It's gonna be
6.
We approved 6.
We approved 6 and 8 when we did
I
the,
thought it was 6.
no, we approved 6.
So this 7 week more.
7.
We're on that line.
We're on 7 now, yes, sir. 7. Is this a half-day, a whole day?
This particular one is a half day,
And how much is it? Is it the
1,100.
1100 for a half day? And this is coming out of where?
Federal funds.
Federal funds. We're taking away from the kids. Okay. Federal funds.
Well, I'd like to add that Singapore mathematics is the premise for all Common Core mathematics. It deals with multiple facets. It's a difference in learning. It deals with pictorial or concrete, pictorial, abstract. It deals with bar modeling. All of those things have to be trained in order for our children to be successful. Without it, we would be taken away from the children.
Sounds good, Mr. Superintendent, and I'm not here to debate.
Make a motion we accept.
The motion, is there a second?
Second
The
motion.
motion and proper second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Sturgis, no. Motion so carried. We're now down to.
I make a motion we go into closed session and set the agenda for executive session.
Been moved and properly second that we go into closed session soon to set the agenda for executive session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion so carried. Thank you.